Welcome to the Burgundy Gold Knuckleheads podcast. As always, coming off a big win against Carolina. It's my main man, Reggie. What's going on, Reg?
Ken, let's go, man. Let's go.
It was a good game, wasn't
It was a great,
it?
a great game.
Could do no wrong. And all we heard all day long. I mean, it was nonstop. Like, we're going to hear that a few times, but it just wouldn't stop.
It was pretty wild, man. And I ain't gonna lie, I was tired of singing. We for those that don't know, we sing "Hell to the Redskins, Hell to the Commanders," after every score, and in the bar, and I was tired of singing. I was tired of clapping and singing, man. And but truth be told, it was good, man. It was good. It was that we were in a position that we had not been in, and I can't remember. I mean, it's been, I think he said it was the largest halftime lead we'd had since 2005 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was bored. I was bored at halftime. By halftime, I was bored. Right?
Yeah, I was kind of flicking some water at Reggie, kind of trying to keep him awake. Like, come on, man, come on, we got another half. But in all seriousness,
I wasn't that bad.
Yeah, no, he wasn't. But in all seriousness, it was Washington controlled this game within the first couple plays to pretty much the last play of the game. It was a dominating, without a doubt. If you didn't see the score and you just watched the game, it was a dominating game.
Yeah, it was. We talked about it, obviously, offline, and again, it was a very unique position that we were in, a position that we've been on the other side of a blowout loss, game over by halftime, many times over the years. And so for us to be in this position, it was different. It was fun. You know me personally, and I've never been a huge fan of blowouts. I don't mind wire to wire type victories where you start out winning and you lead all the way. There's a nice cushion. The game's never was in jeopardy of being lost.
Right.
But when it's blowouts, even for my own team, I'm never a huge fan of blowout wins. And so I was distracted and was talking and things of that nature during the game. And but we got a little scare. I know we're going to talk about some more details of the game. But in the first quarter, we got a scare. Jayden Daniels, Cliff opens the game with a RPO, if you will, and Jayden scrambles for 30-something plus yards right out the gate, first offensive possession. And then at some point he runs again, and I think he got hurt on that play. I'm not sure which one it was, but I think he got hurt because he slows down trying to fall, if you will, and I think the guys fell on top of him. And then after that, you saw him wincing. And eventually they pulled him out of the game. And I think with the way the game was going, they just decided that they just put him in street clothes and just let him, start to heal or not get injured any further and get ready for next week. At least that's what I'm hoping, because we don't know what the extent. They just said it was a rib injury, and we don't know the extent of the rib injury. But if you're watching it online on television, he comes back out, he's waving to the crowd and that type of thing. So he seems to be okay. His mom tweeted that he's fine and that type of thing. So maybe it was just all precautionary for one Jayden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, outside of the game itself, that's the only concerning part in this game. If you look at the stats, again, Carolina threw the ball combined between Andy Dalton and Young. They were 13 for 18 for 85 yards. Total
passing yards,
85 yards. And you got to remember the fourth quarter touchdown that they scored. They had one big pass that was 30 to 35 yards on a pass. I'm a ballpark.
Okay.
So, more than a third of their total yards for the day was off of that one pass, roughly. It was like I said, it was 25 to 30-yard pass. Rushing the ball, they had 23 rushes for only 95 yards. So, total offense for the day was less than 200 yards. And if you would have told me that it was less than 150, I would have believed you, but they did do a little bit better than that. The Commanders on the other side, very efficient. Jaden only threw 2 passes, completed them both. Mariota was 18 for 23. Combined, we were 20 for 25, 80% completion percentage. You'll take that all day. It was another very, very efficient day. They didn't air it out and go crazy with it. And really overall, for Mariota's 18 for 23, we had a couple drops. Right, there was at least 2 drops on there, so these numbers could have even been higher if they made the. I'll say 2 of them had Ertz and who's the one on the sidelines there that dropped the ball.
Zacchaeus?
Yes,
Zacchaeus.
he dropped a pass as well. So he would have been what 20 for 23. You'll take that all day. Very efficient. And they were running the ball extremely well. They ran for everybody all together. Quarterbacks and running backs were 214 yards for the day. Hard to go wrong with that. As 5 different people ran the ball, three running backs and 2 quarterbacks. So the ball was moving out. One of the things I did like when Mariota came in, I don't know if it was his first play, but I think it was his second play. He ran kind of like what the first play was that Jaden Daniels did, and not that they were setting up a run, but Cliff Kingsbury decided you're going to have to keep an eye on our quarterback, right? You linebackers are going to have to watch our quarterbacks where they go. You're not just going to be able to lock in on the running backs or the tight ends or whatever. You're going to have to keep your head moving and looking at everything. I know some people don't like when the quarterbacks run. And I want to do it in very spot situations. I want to slide. I want to, I don't want our quarterbacks to take a big hit. But when they do it, even when they only pick up a yard or 2 or 3, it's setting things up, right? It's setting the defense up. It's making the defense cover an extra person. It's 1 running back and 3 wide receivers, and it's a quarterback that we need to cover as well. It just adds another dynamic to it. So we see that throughout the league.
Yeah. Well, put me in the camp of not a big fan of seeing my quarterback run, especially when they don't know how to get down. To today's injury, and from all the reports that we're seeing, it doesn't seem to be serious. But I think this rib injury to Jaden Daniels had everything to do with his inability to know how to slide. It was very awkward when he even went down. But
Right.
but nonetheless, I know injuries is part of football and all those types of things. But let's be honest, man, we're where we are because of the play of Jaden Daniels, and I just don't want the kid getting injured for on a play that is essentially, I'm going to call, unnecessary. So
Right.
that being the case, you talked about all the stats and things, and Washington was never in jeopardy of losing this game. North Carolina, the Carolina Panthers, they're a bad team. They only had 1 win.
Right.
They were 1-5 coming into this game, and we knew that they had some weapons on some talent, I should say, on the offensive side, but it just didn't show up for them today, man. And for whatever reason, it just wasn't working. And whether that was Washington shut down the league's 3rd leading rusher in Chuba Hubbard and was forcing them to throw. But even with that, you mentioned the less than 100 yards, I think, passing total between the quarterbacks. It just wasn't there. And we saw the defense. We were wondering how the defense was going to look without Jonathan Allen. They didn't seem to miss a beat, but again, they were playing the Carolina Panthers. It's not like
Right.
they were playing the Baltimore Ravens this week minus Jonathan Allen. But if we're going to be a good team, then we have to beat bad teams like this. And
Absolutely.
so with us being able to do what we did today, then that says something. We saw today, Dante Fowler getting his first career interception that he returned to a touchdown. There was Emmanuel Forbes sighting, right?
Yeah.
Soon as he picked the ball off, I immediately was, hitting you guys like, look, that's Emmanuel Forbes, Emmanuel Forbes. I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's back, but for someone who has not given up on the kid, I was happy to see that he got the play. What could that do for him from a confidence level to let him know to keep working and those types of things, and maybe he can get a chance to get back on the field. You never know, man. It's kind of like one of those momentum plays that happens during the game sometimes that can turn
Right.
it around. So maybe this was what he needed because Ron and those guys kept talking about him being a ball hawk, and for him to get his first career interception today was, I was happy for the kid.
Yeah, I mean, I hope quarterbacks keep throwing the ball directly to him. So that was a good thing that we saw today by Andy Dalton.
So you're trying to be funny, but look, we've seen a lot of DBs get the balls thrown right to them and they don't come up with it. So kudos to Emmanuel Forbes for catching it, right?
Hey, the play was there to make it, and he made the play. So I agree.
Yeah,
we'll definitely take it, and if little things like that can help the kid grow, I'm all for it. I make jokes about it. Most people know where I stand on Emmanuel Forbes, and I want to be wrong. I want the kid to have success and have success in Washington, but time will tell. I think none of us want Jaden Daniels to get hurt, right? We don't even want him to break a fingernail and have to go sit out for a play while he files his nail down, right? I mean, anything ridiculous like that. But this was a good game for Mariota to come in. He came in, and I'm not going to say he was Jaden Daniels, but the offense kept on running. It kept on clicking. It was a very efficient offense. Granted, 100% understand it was against Carolina, and with the fact that it was Carolina, it should have kept on going, which it did. Cliff Kingsbury seemed like his plays that he was running didn't change. And Mariota's been in the league long enough. He has the style of Jaden Daniels in his play and his mobility and being able to. You saw a few plays where he's rolling out and felt is very comfortable and accurate, rolling and throwing on the run. That's why this regime let all the other quarterbacks go that were on the team and brought in Marcus Mariota. Again, now there's a difference between playing in the preseason and doing it at practice and doing it at the game. So now if Jaden Daniels were to go down for a game or two, the team has that much more confidence in Mariota. He's doing it. He's done it. He's making people miss with his moves. He's running the offense very efficiently. So not the way you want to learn and establish that trust and good feel on the game, but when given the opportunity, he took advantage of it. The team took advantage of it, and that's good things for the Commanders team and the fans.
it is, but I don't want to see Marcus Mariota on the field no more. Okay, can we do that?
We can agree on that. And that's not a knock on Mariota. That's not a knock on him.
It is not.
We want our starting quarterback to always be in.
However, I just want to see number 5 under center. So, but with that being the case, man, we've talked about, this team being ahead of schedule, and there were some markers, right? Some markers along the way that we've all talked about that we want to see. First we lost, against Tampa, and then we play the Giants, and then we win, and then people's like, "Where's the Giants? The Giants are no good." And so we'll wait till you play somebody good. And so there were markers along the way that we wanted to see. Starting with we went on the road to play the Cincinnati Bengals on Monday night, and although the Bengals record-wise wasn't very good at the time, everyone thought they were still a good team. They just needed to turn some things around. And it was our young team, brand new team, going on the road under the bright lights of Monday Night Football, and how will we perform? So they go into Cincinnati and pretty much dominated the Bengals. Then the question was, okay, for us fans, we're like, okay, so we can play Monday night, and so can our young team. Then we said, okay, well, what happens next? Because we had the Arizona Cardinals after that, who were not technically not really a good team. And so the question was, will there be a letdown? You got up for the Monday night game. Will there be a letdown against the Arizona Cardinals? They go into Arizona, win that game, dominated that game. So then eventually they play the Baltimore Ravens. And now everyone is talking about the Baltimore Ravens. This is a measuring stick game. How will we play on the road? Lamar Jackson, two-time MVP, et cetera, et cetera. And we didn't play our best game, but we lose that game by 7 points. And Jayden Daniel looks good in the loss. And again, I know everyone says there's no such thing as more victories. Okay, whatever. But if we had gotten blown out by that game, the narrative would have been a little bit different than when we got blown out by 7. So you say there's no more victories. Okay, cool. But here's the thing. So the question was, okay, you got up for the Baltimore game, and now you're going to play a terrible Carolina team. Can you still get up for that, knowing that next week's matchup is going to be against a marquee matchup against the Chicago Bears? And we said, well, what kind of team can we be? Because again, in years past, we would almost beat a good team, and then the team you're supposed to beat, we would lose to. So here we come. Here we get the Carolina Panthers coming into our stadium, and then they blow them out 40-7. So there was no letdown, even though they lost the game against the Ravens. They didn't let up against a team that they are supposed to beat in the Carolina Panthers. So all of these markers, man, have been a passing grade and a passing test for me. And we talked about it offline here, man. At 5-2, you meaning Washington beats the Chicago Bears at home next week, and you go 6 and you're 6-2 after 8 games, brother. I'm not gonna sit here and make any bold predictions, but I will say at a minimum, a 10-win season is no longer a silly prediction. Right. Now the question becomes, where's the ceiling for this team? Right. Where do they go from here? You're going to figure that they're going to continue to get better. Our division, you still got the Cowboys and Eagles. Then you have the Giants again after that. I mean, man, again, you're not going to make me to make any big, bold predictions like that. But now you have to start considering a much bigger picture here for this team for this season.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think this is a young team, right? It's a team that is continuing to gel together. It is a coaching staff that is, I think it understands the players, but there's still some minor nuances that it's still learning on the go. You know, they're still implementing plays. The defense is still getting confidence and measuring the secondary as an example. And barring injuries, we'll be a better team in December than we are now, right? So, some teams they're just going to stay steady. They might die off or whatever. This team is built with the youth of the young coaching staff as far as togetherness and working with this group of players, and then the players themselves is a young group of players all gelling together. This is a perfect scenario where you don't want to face the Commanders in December, right? Agreed. If you're trying to make the playoffs and you face the Commanders in December, you might you might your preseason. I'm checking the Commanders as a win. Might be like, ooh, that might not be a win there.
Right. Right.
And again, even in December, uh, Baltimore is still a good team. Tampa is still a solid team. Those teams might not want to face the December Commanders.
I agree. I agree. You know, it's funny you say that because Dan Quinn in one of his pressers was talking about. He says, you know, to keep the team engaged, to keep everything, keep the guys interested in building and continue to work on their craft. He mentioned, he says, you know, just for example, he said we've already gotten better. He says, do you think the team in week 2 could beat the team in week 6? And the answer is probably no, because the team in week 6 has gotten better than the team that was in week 2. And so the team that's going to be in week 10, week 12 is going to be a lot better than the team in week 6 and week 7, because if they're continuing to work, grind, and get better. So to your point, this team is continuing to learn as a young team and to get better at their craft. And so by December, hell yeah, they're going to be a much, much better team, man. And so depending where this thing shakes out, you might not want to play us in late December, man.
Yeah.
That's just what it is. So
Yeah.
I just kind of want to point that out, man, because the way this thing is shaking out and setting up, you couldn't have told me after 8 games, Ken, that we'd be 6-2. Now, granted, we're 5-2 after 7, but even then,
Right.
5-2.
For a team that Vegas had 6.5 wins.
6, yeah.
Right. And most of the people that I heard give predictions was no more than 8 wins. Right.
Right.
I don't think I saw anybody doing 9, 10 wins, you know, that are serious, right? Somebody might throw that out there just to to gain attention, but serious people talking seriously about the Commanders said, 6, 7, 8. Most people were 6, 7, 8.
But there was a lot of unknowns. We had a new coaching
Yeah.
staff. We had new, 60% of the roster was overturned. You had a rookie quarterback, a lot of youth, all the coaching changes and everything. So there was so many things that would have had to come together for this team to have success. And that was the narrative. Well, hell, man, we're 5-2.
Yep.
Anything can happen. I get it. But right now, as of today, we're 5-2. And no one had that on their bingo card, right?
And kudos to Dan Quinn and staff.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And even the players for buying in.
Yep.
Even Jake Daniels and all those guys are putting in the hard work, man. So kudos to everybody that has done the work to put this team at 5-2, because I'm telling you, all the fans are coming back. All the bandwagoners, they're back.
Yeah.
The bandwagon fans are back, man.
Yeah, we're seeing people at the bar that we hadn't seen in a couple years. All of a sudden popping in. I'm like, where'd you come from?
Exactly. Exactly. And
you
even at the
get there
stadium
early to get your seat. But yeah, it is good. Halftime they inducted Darryl Green, retired his. I thought they were just putting him in the Ring of Fame, but they actually retired his number. I knew it was happening, but I wasn't paying attention to all the details, so I didn't know that they were retiring his number. 20 years in burgundy and gold, and man, he's a. If you watch a highlight film of him, whether you're watching him, run down Tony Dorsett, Eric Dickerson, covering people on passes, returning some punts for touchdowns, whatever plays that he was making, man, he was a highlight film. And Joe Gibbs knew that he was a something special and tried many ways to put him in position to have an impact, and he did, to his credit. Fastest in the NFL multiple years back when when they had the contest every year, and NFL challenge of the stars, or whatever they used to call those shows, and
Wild World of Sports.
Yeah, something like I don't know what platform it was, but they would put all the
ABC.
in the spring they would put all the wide receivers and cornerbacks and running backs, and he smoked them all. And a lot of them participated in like a Herschel Walker that was part of the U.S. He wasn't part of the Olympic team, but he was part of U.S. track and field, and he hung with a lot of the people that went to the Olympics. The Carl Lewis's back then. He wasn't faster than Carl Lewis, but he was hanging. He was in that realm of people, and Darrell Green would smoke him. Not by a nose. He was beating them by a step and a half of everybody in the NFL. So
Yeah, I'll tell you a quick funny story regarding Darrell Green. Um, Darrell Green, Darrell Green is the number one reason, even to this day, that I do not get, personalized jerseys.
okay,
And so just simply because, the way his name is and name's spelled and everything. And, I didn't want some of the connections and things of that nature, people connecting me to all of that and stuff like that. But Darrell Green being who he was as a player, his tenure, didn't miss games, right? Always at the Pro Bowl, those types of things. Um, he was a stalwart, man. He represented the Redskins, through and through. It was
yeah,
disappointing to find out years later that he kind of disassociated himself from the organization. Um, I didn't judge him for it. I was kind of a little disappointed because, just because of who he was to the organization during the glory years.
right,
But as time passed, you find out things. You understand how Snyder treated a lot of former players. You realize how a lot of former players did not be associated with the organization for whatever the reasons were. And Josh Harris and his group are doing everything they can to kind of bring all that back. I think they said they had 150 alumni players in town for this game. I'm sure a lot of it had
oh,
to do with Darrell Green,
right,
but there was also, just people there because it was alumni weekend, I think. And they're trying to do things to honor and bring back a lot of that legacy from the organization that has been lost over the years. And starting out, the Darrell Green suite. If you've seen that on social media, man, that
yeah,
is unbelievable what they've done. And then, of course, with the retiring of Darrell Green's number, and I think there's more to come. They've already talked about, not to get off on that, but they're going to get a statue for Sean Taylor. And based on what I've seen thus far and what the organization has already done just in the past 2 off season, it's finally going to be what I think most fans envisioned when they said they was going to build a memorial or a statue for Sean Taylor. I think Josh Harris and his crew are going to do it right.
yeah,
But I do think we're going to continue to see former greats being honored by the organization for years to come. And I think it seems to be a mission of theirs to kind of bring all of that back full circle. And so it's good to see, man. It's good to
yeah,
see.
yeah. It definitely is. It definitely is.
Go ahead.
But no, I totally agree with everything you're saying there. The team overall is going about this the right way. Um, Consistently making the right choices. I mean, I have to look hard at mistakes that Josh Daniels has done since he's taken ownership. Um,
Josh Harris.
he seems to have picked the right people. Those people have picked the right people. Those people have picked the right people. And put together a team and led this team everything in the right way. Again, whether that's on the field, off the field, there's minimal hiccups or mistakes that they have done. And winning and doing things right, like Darrell Green, when it happens consistently over time, man, fans are going to be there,
Yeah.
right? The old regime was they would do 10 things right, and a couple of them would be right, but more would be wrong. This is, you know, if they consistently do something right, then when they do something wrong, they'll raise their hand and go, "Oh yeah, we did mess that up. We apologize. We're correcting that right now." They're not going to make excuses.
Yeah.
And that's what we've heard. Oh well, we thought that's what it was, or we thought that's what the fans wanted. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You did something and you put it on the fans like they had a say in it when they never did. So kudos from the top to the bottom and everywhere in
Yeah.
between.
Yeah. Well, all I can say, man, is we have a professional organization. We see other organizations in the news with firing head coaches, the controversy around that, disgruntled players, uh, organizations in the news for negative reasons,
Yeah,
and for the first time in a long time, it's not us. This is the second year in a row, second off season under Josh Harris's ownership, and it's not us. And if they're talking about us, it's been good stuff, not the negative. So we finally have an organization, man, that we can be proud of and root for. We've continued to root for them over the years, but we just kept it on the football field. But now it's off the field as well, and finally we're able to be proud of what's happening over in DC, man. So, but anyway, I don't have a whole lot, man. As I mentioned about this game against the Panthers, it was kind of a snooze fest for me. I'm glad we got the win. We took care of business. We didn't know what to do. We didn't know what to do, Ken, other than just sit there and eat some chips and
yeah,
talk a little BS a little bit, and until something happened in the game. But look, man, I'm on to Chicago. I'm on to Chicago, bro. So
absolutely.
I'll
Yeah,
let you finish and wrap up if you got more points you want to make about the game.
no,
But
I think again, this is one of those games where you dominated from beginning to end. There was never any question. The running game worked, the passing game worked, the defense worked. Special teams, our kicker keeps on putting them through the goalposts.
yes,
This is a textbook win. Can't ask
yes,
for much more other than Jaden got hurt. If it's a minor injury and he's playing next week against Chicago, no big deal. Again, perfect scenario all the way around. Daryl Green gets in. I mean,
yes.
if
Jersey
you're a fan of
retired.
this game, it was a good game to be at. I mean, sometimes you want a little bit more competition, but man, everything just worked out. Everything just lined up, and we would love to see. In some ways, we'd love to see more games like this. But we had people at the bar leaving at halftime.
They did.
We've been on the receiving end of that. We're getting a butt whooping and people leave at halftime in disgust. But this is about I got stuff to do. We got this game wrapped up. I'm going to go mow the grass or run errands or whatever it is. But again, there's good problems to have in
It is
DC right
good.
now. So
It is a good problem to
uh,
have.
we will be doing a podcast on reviewing the I
Preview.
consider it a big game against Chicago.
Preview.
Chicago put it on us. What we just had today, that's what Chicago did to us last year, unexpectedly.
Yeah.
Right? We
Receiver had
expected that to be a
receiver
close
had
game
200
last year.
yards.
What's that?
Receiver had 200 yards.
Yeah,
Right.
and
They put a whooping on us,
they
man.
put a whooping. I was at the game.
And
I had to suffer
and
that in person and put out my cash money for that.
yeah.
I wanted a refund. Don't get me wrong, but so I'm ready for this game.
Yeah. Be good, man. We'll be back. We'll be back later this week, folks, with a preview of the Chicago Bears game. But let's enjoy this win. We did what we were supposed to do. We took care of business. Let's enjoy it. Be a good victory Monday.
Yep.
On for the rest of the week. Hopefully that Jaden's injury was just more precautionary, the reason they kept him out. And we're on to the Chicago Bears. So until next time, y'all, peace out.
Peace out, knuckleheads.